عيد الصلاة على محمد وآل محمد. And a third time in love of صاحب العصر والزمان صلوا على محمد وآل محمد. أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم، والصلاة والسلام على سيدنا ونبينا وحبيب قلوبنا أبي القاسم المصطفى محمد. اللهم صل على وعلى آل بيته الطيبين الطاهرين. الحمد لله رب العالمين. الحمد لله الذي جعلنا من المتمسكين بولاية سيدي ومولاي علي بن أبي طالب، والحمد لله الذي هدانا لهذا وما كنا لنهتدي لولا أن هدانا الله. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. رب اشرح لي صدري ويسر لي أمري واحلل عقدة من لساني يفقهوا قولي. In the name of Allah, the most beneficent, the most merciful, we ask Allah to send His greatest peace and blessings upon Muhammad wa Ali Muhammad. We praise Allah for all the blessings He has given us, and the greatest blessing being that He allowed us to be of the ones who remain steadfast, dedicated, and loyal on the path of our Master after the Prophet, the commander of the faithful, the prince of the believers, the protector of the Prophet and his message, Imam Ali ibn Abi Talib alayhi salam. We praise Allah for this blessing and every blessing, for without Allah we would have nothing. Assalamu alaikum, my dear brothers and sisters, wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Over the past few nights, we've been able to explore just a few lines from the eloquence and the majesty of the utterances of Imam Zayn al-ʿābidīn alayhi salam, the Imam who survived Karbala and would carry on the faith of Islam, protect it, guard it, safeguard it, preserve it for the rest of the world and the rest of time. Imam Zayn al-ʿābidīn alayhi salam would not only survive Karbala, but would thrive in a time that was most unlikely for spirituality, religiosity, and godliness to survive. But Imam Zayn al-ʿābidīn alayhi salam defeated all the odds, and he showed what it meant to be a vicegerent, a viceroy, a representative, a manifestation of the greatest virtues of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. If you wish to see the love of God, look at Zayn al-ʿābidīn. If you wish to see the mercy of God, look at as-Sajjad. If you wish to see the love and compassion that is our Lord, the Lord of the worlds, turn to the one who prostrates to Him in the hardest of times, and that is Ali ibn al-Husayn alayhi salam. Du'a makarim al-akhlaq takes us from theory, from abstract, from concept, to living Islam. Living what Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala wants for us. Now every night, my brothers and sisters, we've been asking ourselves questions, and this has been a reflection, and I hope it has been something that is moving you, personal to you, relevant to you, something that is taking your heart, even if it's just an inch, even if it's just an ounce, taking your heart and moving it, pulling it in the right direction. Tonight we're going to ask a question. We went from faith, Ya Allah, protect my faith, perfect my faith, to giving me the best of certainty, to making my intentions the best of intentions. That's where we left off yesterday. As Imam Zayn al-ʿābidīn alayhi salam builds on that in the dua, we're going to continue to build on that in our reflection. We're going to ask ourselves, the title of the lecture today, why do I struggle to stay consistent? Who here made a New Year's resolution? It's okay, raise your hands. Who here has stuck to your New Year's resolution? Stop lying. All right. Who here has made a promise to themselves and to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala that I'm going to do, fill in the blank, this Shahr Ramadan? Who here, I'm going to do certain thing this Shahr Ramadan. All right. Who here is on it still 100%? Okay, good. It's only day 4. Relax. Relax. Sure, you're proud of yourself. You're pumped. كلهم كم يوم. Let's see. Let's see when the month gets into week 2. Let's see after Layal al-Qadr, right? Oh yeah, after Layal al-Qadr, Ramadan. How many times have we heard after Layal al-Qadr, basically the month is over? Ooh, is it? I thought Shahr Ramadan was supposed to transform us. We're going to talk about the difference between transformation and inspiration. We're going to talk the difference about change and just the feeling, the emotion of motivation. We're going to get to that. So if we establish from yesterday, intention is key, sincerity is key, ikhlas is key. I'm sincere. Who here believes that they are sincere? I have a good intention with Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. I came here, I didn't come to impress anybody. I don't care who's looking at me. I'm coming to worship Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Put your hands up. Put your hands up. Yes, I came here for Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. I don't care who's looking at me left or right. I'm here for God. Beautiful. Excellent. Last night, you meant it. Tonight, inshallah, you mean it. You weren't showing off. You weren't trying to impress anybody. You weren't pretending. You're not performing. You're here. You're sincere. But then why is it at 2:17 a.m. at night you were still scrolling? Ma'ijina, we're sincere, we're worshiping God, we're reciting Quran, I'm changing. Then why is it I'm still struggling to wake up and pray for Fajr even when I'm fasting? And I know I'm not going to wake up and pray for Fajr unless I stay up until Fajr. Oh yeah, I see that, I see that. I know. Why? Why? Why is it that Fajr, put Shahr Ramadan aside. By the way, for Shahr Ramadan, we need to be on it. The gates of heaven are open. The gates of hell are closed. The shayateen, they're shackled. Then you ask yourself, then why am I still doing the things wrong? That's you, buddy. That's me. That's you. Why is Salat al-Fajr still negotiable? But it's okay if I'm scrolling at 2 a.m. Why is it that my temper is still reactive? Oh, don't talk to me before my coffee. Oh, I can't talk to people. Why? Why so? Why? Why is it that our discipline still collapses when we're in some form of discomfort? If anything is out of our comfort zone, khalas, we don't know how to act. We're brand new. Why? Why does our environment overpower our intention? You put me in the wrong place at the wrong time, done. I lost it. You put me around the wrong crew, you put me in the wrong atmosphere, done. Rahul principles, rahul intentions, rahul sincerity, rahat. It's all gone. Why? The problem here for many of us is not sincerity. The problem here is that sincerity without structure evaporates. Sincerity without structure evaporates. If you just hold on to an intention and you assume that your motivation is going to carry you, your inspiration is going to carry you, you're going to fail. Who here just feels like, I just need a little bit more motivation? I'm not motivated. Who here has felt that before? Man, I need some motivation. Some people ask me all the time, Hajj, how do you stay motivated? I'm like, I don't. How do you stay motivated all the time? I don't. What? What do you mean? We don't run on motivation. We run on something else. And we struggle, but we run on something else. You gonna stay with me? All right, if you're gonna stay with me, give me a loud salawat ala Muhammad wa ali Muhammad. And if we can, my dear brothers and sisters, forgive me for asking this, but the coming in and out, خففوها بس شوي. Just a little bit, just going back and forth, because I'm talking to you, right? So it is distracting for me, and probably distracting for everybody else. So please forgive me for making that request. Let's give another loud salawat ala Muhammad wa ali Muhammad. Allahumma salli. All right. We good? We settled down? All right, third salawat ala Muhammad wa ali Muhammad. In lecture 3 yesterday, we focused on that part in Dua Makarim al-Akhlaq, where the Imam alayhi salam, he says, وَانْتَهِي بِنِيَّتِي إِلَىٰ أَحْسَنِ النِّيَّاتِ. Ya Allah, carry my intention to the best of intentions. What does the Imam then do after that? He doesn't stop there. The Imam continues and immediately says, the line immediately after that, the Imam says, وَبِعَمَلِ إِلَىٰ أَحْسَنِ الْأَعْمَالِ. In my action, bring my actions to the best of actions. Notice the movement of the Imam. We're talking about here, what are we talking about? We're talking about faith. We're talking about certainty. We're talking about intention. We went from faith, certainty, iman, yaqeen, niyyah, intention. And now we're at what? Now we're at the action. And what kind of action are we talking about? We're not talking about a singular action, a singular big moment that the Imam is asking for. Yes, let me make one huge big movement, one huge big moment, one singular action. But rather, he's talking about actions, a'mal, plural, repeated. You see where I'm going here? We're looking at repeated action. The Imam is pointing us to refinement, to sustaining. It's not just about one occasion. We put on one event, we feel good about it, and then we're all right, we're done. Instead, the Imam here is pointing us towards sustained action, something that is refined, and something that may not be loud, may not even be seen. The Imam is building for us a structure, a foundation of self based on faith, certainty, intention, and then sustained action. Why does Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, building off of this, condemn saying things without doing them? You may take your attention right away to what I'm about to say in the verse that I'm about to mention, to hypocrisy. I'm going to connect it to something a little bit deeper and probably more applicable to all of us. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says in the chapter 61 of the Holy Quran, verses 2 and 3, Ya ayyuhalladhina amanu, lima taquluna ma la taf'alun. O you who believe, why do you say what you do not do? And then he continues, كبر مقتا عند الله أن تقولوا ما لا تفعلون. Indeed, it is greatly hated in the sight of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala that you say what you do not do. This may not be only about hypocrisy. Yeah, I may come and say, hey, you guys should fast. And I don't fast. That's hypocritical, right? Right, guys? That's hypocritical. But there's also a personal aspect to this. That I say, for example, I'm going to wake up for Fajr, but I don't. I'm going to stop swearing, but I don't. I'm going to stop listening to music, but I don't. I'm going to dress more modestly, but I don't. I'm going to lower my gaze, but I don't. I'm going to take care of my family, but I don't. I'm going to be a kinder person, but I'm not. I'm going to forgive, but I hold on. When we're looking at the inconsistency here, we see something that we can dig even deeper. I'm not a hypocrite, but I can very well be inconsistent. I can say all day that I'm going to do this, I'm going to do that, I'm going to make a resolution for the new year, for Shahr Ramadan. It's going to be a new year, new me, new Shahr Ramadan. I'm going to make all this happen. I'm going to say it. But then just a week later, 2 weeks later, I'm not doing it. I might be on the hype of it, the inspiration, the motivation of doing it. And I do it for a little bit. But then it stops. And then we continue to scroll. And we continue to numb ourselves. because I can't be bored. I have to be stimulated. So even when I do the wrong, I just go back to this and I start scrolling again. And I'm going to connect a little bit deeper to that, the whole scrolling. Like, Hajj, why do you keep on bringing up social media? Why do you keep on bringing up scrolling? This is a part of life now. What do you mean? You have to take this wherever you go. Wherever you go, you got to take this and you got to scroll, right? Is my phone training me more than my prayer is? Let me say that one more time. Is my phone training me more than my prayer is? And let's get a quick reminder on what our prayer is. Your prayer is that call to have a conversation with Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala multiple times throughout the day. It's a conversation. It's your private meeting with God. It's a mix of verses of the Quran, which is Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala speaking to you, and dua, which is you speaking to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Allah gives us Fajr, Dhuhr, Asr, Maghrib, Isha, 5 different prayers as an obligation, saying, you gotta talk to me. You need it. So is my phone training me more than my prayer is? I want us to be honest with ourselves. And tonight is not about inspiration or motivation. Tonight is about being real. I want us to be real. Don't worry about what the norm is right now. Forget the norm. Forget the norm. Look at the world, the normal world out there. Okay? The normal world out there can see the worst of crimes, the most heinous of crimes, can see millions of people be killed, and it's okay, just move on. God, no, there's nothing. Can see all of these people, al-fadayah that come out, with all of the things that everyone is aware of, and still, no, nothing happened. Now, all of these things that come out, my dear brothers and sisters, what do we do with that? If you're still scrolling, man, that's part of the problem. You're still scrolling, you're still on the same platforms, you're still doing. What are you going to change about yourself? What awareness with Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala do you change while Allah is showing you, exposing for you the realities of this world? Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala already told you in the Holy Quran, this world is but what? A distraction, amusement. Stop building on this bridge. وَلَلْآخِرَةُ خَيْرٌ لَكَ مِنَ الْأُولَى. The next life is better for you than this. This is the test. So don't be too invested here. But be aware, don't be naive. So as I'm looking and I'm asking myself, am I being trained more by this device than I am by my own prayer? Because I will tell you, your phone is not just a distraction, it's disciplining you. You want to hear it, you don't want to hear it, this is a reality. Your phone is disciplining you. My phone is disciplining me. Every scroll trains a deeper distraction. Every notification trains interruption. Every single short video trains impatience. Every reel makes us more impatient. Every dopamine spike, every spike in dopamine that we're getting from what we're doing on our phones does what? It makes us avoid comfort, avoid discomfort, and avoid effort. If you really take a moment to think, detach yourself from this. The other day, I shared with some of my brothers in our group a reel about the 80s and the 90s, how simple life was back then. Who here was born in the 80s or the 90s, or even before that, right? Life and its simplicity. Without this, and those of you, the majority of you in this audience are like, what are you talking about? What is that? Imagine a world without your phone. Today, I will tell you, it's not a generational thing. We're all now subject to it. Whatever decade you were born in, the 70s, the 60s, the 80s, the 90s, the 2000s, the 2010s, whatever decade you were born in, so many of us now can't even have a conversation with one another. You want to have a conversation with Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala? We don't even know how to talk to each other. You want to talk to God? We have full-blown out relationships, friendships with one another via text. That's not normal. It's not normal. It's not natural. When you say this human being, in all of its beauty that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala created, you're going to filter my whole experience of life through this? No, thank you. Something's got to change. Something's got to change. Now, some of you may be looking at me and be like, Hajj, I don't know a life outside of this. I want you to see you've answered the question. Your phone's training you not just more than your prayer, it's training you more than anything. And unless you want to be the master of your own self, you're going to be a slave to that. Let that sink in. Nahna, the greatest honor that we have is that we are slaves of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, servants of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And by being a servant of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, you are a true sayyid, meaning what? You are a true master of yourself. But until we're able to, in action, with the faith, with the certainty, with the intention, in action, make that happen, it's a joke. When I look here, and I'm wondering, and I'm going to ask, who here wants to be in a state of khushu', in a state of piety, in a state of awareness and humbleness before Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala this holy month of Ramadan? Who here wants that? Of course, who doesn't want that? You want to feel, right? Who here wants to feel the presence of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala in the holy month of Ramadan? Who here wants to? But that's the problem. Nahna, we want to feel, but we don't want to be. We just want to be emotional. Oh, I felt so spiritual. I felt so spiritual. Spirituality is not a feeling. Spirituality is a discipline. Spirituality is a commitment. Spirituality is an awareness. Spirituality is a state of being. Al-Imam Zayn al-ʿābidīn alayhi salam, he's challenging us here by setting the expectations and the foundations of request with Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Who is the best person to ask for anything? Who? Who's the best to ask for anything? Who in his hands has everything? Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. It's very simple. It's not a trick question. And Imam Zayn al-ʿābidīn alayhi salam is teaching us what? How to ask. But it takes some work. Some of us, we get impatient. Okay, let's get to the wealth. Let's get to the success. Let's get to the family. I had so many people come to me and tell me, Hajj, I can't wait for lecture 7 about marriage. It's excellent. We're going to get to the lecture on marriage. And I'm glad people are excited and we should get married. But there's a foundation for it. And actually, you're going to see in lecture 7 on marriage, there's a foundation, prerequisites to answering that question on marriage. When I see what Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala actually loves, it will be clarified in my mind where I need to be at. Who here wants to know what Allah loves? You want to know what Allah loves? If you want to know what Allah loves, raise your hand. Raise 2 hands. Raise 2 hands. Okay, whoever didn't raise your hand, I'm sorry. There's a hadith from al-Imam al-Baqir alayhi salam. It's narrated by Shaykh al-Kulayni in al-Kafi, in the book of al-Iman wal-Kufr. And this hadith comes from one of the notable companions. I mentioned him yesterday, I'll mention him again today, but it's a different chain. From Ali ibn Ibrahim, from his father all the way to Zurara, one of the great companions of Imam al-Baqir, Imam al-Sadiq, an Imam al-Baqir alayhi salam. He says, أحب الأعمال إلى الله عز وجل ما داوم عليه العبد وإن قل. That the best of deeds, the most beloved deed, the deed that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala loves the most, is that which the servant continues to do even if it's small. Now I want you to think about this. I want you to think about this. What's something that you can do that's small? It doesn't have to be viral. It doesn't have to be massive. It doesn't have to be visible. It doesn't have to be dramatic. Can we all take a step back and stop being so dramatic with our lives? Please? Is it possible? Because not everything needs to be a big show, a big movie, something that you take and be like, oh, I can make some content out of that. You should share that on Instagram. No, that's not life. What life are we living? We need to all calm down, be less dramatic about it, and see what I can do. There is a young man who, in a group of people, the lecturer was giving a lecture, and he was talking about the importance of giving sadaqah every single day. Everybody looked. Who's giving sadaqah every single day? That's a lot. He said, I challenge you, can anybody here say that they give sadaqah every single day? And this young man, probably no more than 15, 16 years old, he kind of just raised his hand like this. He raised his hand like this. The lecturer was shocked. Really? MashaAllah. He continued on with his lecture, right? He kind of messed up his point. But he wanted to talk to him afterwards. He went up to the young man afterwards. He's like, MashaAllah alaik, how do you actually, you give sadaqah every single day? He's like, yeah. He's like, if you don't mind me asking, is your family very well off? Like you guys, you're rich? He's like, no. He's like, how do you do it? He's like, I do what I can. Every day, I put aside anywhere from 50 cents to $1. And that's what I can do, and that's what I give. The Shaykh was looking at him and understood a deeper meaning of what he was trying to convey to the audience. This giving sadaqah, this act of goodness, doesn't need to be big, doesn't need to be massive, doesn't need to be what many of us will think, oh, I can't do that. You do what's within your means, and in the eyes of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, the most beloved deed to Him is what? That thing that you do consistently. Meaning what? These atomic habits, these small habits, these small movements, it doesn't need to be big, it doesn't need to be dramatic, it doesn't need to be seen by anyone. It just needs to be something that you do consistently. Why? Because we as human beings, we are creatures of habit. We become the things that we constantly do. So if you're somebody who's constantly criticizing people, then that's who you're going to be. Somebody who is a critic. If you're going to be somebody who is constantly tearing other people down, then that's what you're going to be. If you're going to be someone who's doing small good deeds without anybody knowing, that's with Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Your character is being developed. Maybe other people don't see it, but you have it with Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Now, when Imam Zayn al-ʿābidīn alayhi salam is sharing with us this dua, I want you to see with the Imams, they walked the walk. They didn't just talk the talk. Imam Zayn al-ʿābidīn alayhi salam, he survives Karbala. He returns to Medina after being dragged and tortured in the deserts of Iraq and Syria. From Karbala to Kufa, Kufa to Sham, and back to Karbala, and finally Imam Zayn al-ʿābidīn alayhi salam returns to Medina. What does Imam Zayn al-ʿābidīn alayhi salam do in Medina, my dear brothers and sisters? What does he do? He spends his days teaching and spends his nights serving. And know that with Ahlul Bayt alayhim as-salam, as soon as the darkness of the night came, they made sure nobody saw them in their service. Imam Zayn al-ʿābidīn alayhi salam would go hooded in the middle of the night and take bags of food and water to the poorest of the poor in the community in Medina. Who does this remind you of? Somebody who we're going to remember on the 19th and the 21st of Shahr Ramadan. Amir al-Mu'mineen Ali ibn Abi Talib alayhi salam, his grandfather. All of Ahlul Bayt, they gave, and they gave in secret. Imam Zayn al-ʿābidīn alayhi salam, it's narrated that the bags that he used to hold on his back and the ropes used to cut through his shoulder and his flesh, of how heavy they were. Wal-Imam مش همه الدنيا. Imam's not worried about the whole world. Ya Imam, into you just survived the most traumatic experience of Karbala, and now you're going to serve the people of your community? Yes. And what? He's not looking for praise. He's not looking for applause. He's not looking for recognition. Imam Zayn al-ʿābidīn alayhi salam goes and takes care of the widows, the poor, the orphans, everybody in need. And then when Imam Zayn al-ʿābidīn alayhi salam, pay attention to this, انتبهوا. Imam Zayn al-ʿābidīn alayhi salam, when did people realize he was doing all this? When he passes away and those orphans and those widows and those poor people are no longer taken care of. There's that brief period where people realize there's nobody coming to our door anymore, leaving anything at our door. And that's when they realize that that was him. The Imam was doing it not for anybody else, and he was doing this secretly in the middle of the night, not looking for any form of recognition or acknowledgement. Now I want to ask us something. Let's be honest. Let's be honest. If you can't post it, would you do it? Some of you are nodding your heads, but that's because you don't got social media. Let's be honest. If you had a following and you didn't have just a private account, and you were an influencer, a micro-influencer, whatever it may be, on Instagram, on TikTok, on whatever, if you can't post it, would you do it? Inshallah. I hope so. That's the test here. And for those of us who are thinking twice about it, it's good. I don't want to make you feel guilty and say, oh, I'm a bad person. No, that's the movement here. The whole point of the reflection is to see if I'm having some inclination towards something that I shouldn't be at, tonight's the night. Okay, let me see what I need to change so that I'm inclined to do the things that I should be doing instead. I want to drive home something, inshallah, before we end and transition to the recitation of the Holy Quran. Ask yourself this question. What am I repeating every single day without realizing it? What am I repeating every single day without realizing? From the moment you wake up to the moment you go to sleep. How many hours this week went to my screen? How many hours this week went to my screen? Ask yourself this question, just for yourself. How many minutes went to the Holy Quran? Now, by the way, I don't mean to make it where it's like, oh, the screen versus the Quran. You can be reading the Quran from your screen, but you get what I'm saying. How many hours are going to the screen? How many minutes are going to the Holy Quran? How many notifications shaped your mind? Because we're responding. As soon as we get a notification, we look, we see, okay, let me answer that. Let me respond to that. I got a notification. I got it. I can't see, who here? I can't see red. I can't leave the red on my the red color notifications. Who here is like, I get bothered if I see too many notifications. Okay, that's part of the psychological conditioning that we have in responding to the phone. That's the training we're talking about. How many notifications shape my mind? And then how many moments of going to sujood shape my heart? Oh, لا, نحن عجلة. We're always on a run. We're always in a hurry. Man, why are you praying so slow? Pick it up. Let's go. We got things to do. وَمَا خَلَقْنَا الْإِنسَ وَالْجِنَّ إِلَّا لِيَعْبُدُونَ. And we didn't create the human beings and the jinn except to do what? To worship me. You got things to do? Hey, go. You got things to do. We do not become what we admire. Instead, we become what we repeat. We do not become what we admire. You can say, I love Imam Ali. Imam Ali alayhi salam, الدنيا كلها إليه. I love him. I admire him. He's the man. He's the number one. Okay. But you're not going to be like him. Adma, you admire him. Adma, you love him. You're going to be like him if you repeat the things that he did. If we died tonight, my dear brothers and sisters, what pattern would follow? If you died tonight, would your soul then reflect a disciplined servant or a distracted creature? Nahna, what are we? Are we disciplined servants of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala? Or are we just distracted? Oh, look at that. Oh, look at that. Oh, look at this. Oh, look at that. What is it that we're going to have as the reflection of ourselves by the end of our lives? Because you don't get to change in the last hour, in the last day, just like that. It has a whole lifetime that manifests itself to the person that you're carrying on into the next abode. And these discussions are the most relevant for the youngest in the audience, because you have the highest chances of changing to what you want to be and being that best and highest version of yourself. What I must change is structural, not emotional. It's not your sincerity. The assumption here is that all of us, inshallah, we're sincere with Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. We have our intention for Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. We covered that yesterday. But instead, what needs to change is our structure. Practically, let me tell you this, especially for the young ones in the audience. And by young, I mean if you're under the age of 70. Move your phone out of your bedroom. Move your phone out of your bedroom. Go to sleep. Wake up for Fajr. Delete any app that weakens you. Instagram? Yeah. It weakens you? Delete it. TikTok? Delete it. Hajj, are you boycotting? No, I'm deleting. If it weakens you, delete it. Take a radical change in your life to be the person that you want to be. Oh my goodness, you said radical? Are you an extremist? I'm an extremist for betterment. I'm a radical for change that makes us who we want to be without hurting or harming anyone else. But I can't continue to hurt and harm myself. Nahna, we're so concerned with not hurting and harming anyone. Absolutely, you should never put yourself in a position to hurt or harm any other human being. But you also need to be mindful of not hurting and harming yourself. Anchor yourself and your schedule to your prayer times. And your prayer times should become fixed times for you. Tie the Holy Quran as a daily trigger for us. And allow that habit of reciting the Quran to be stacked on the habit that should be already established of praying on time. Protect small moments of silence and quiet, because we need it. And schedule discomfort. It's okay to be uncomfortable. It's okay to experience a little bit of discomfort. Not everything has to be so perfect all the time. Oh, I can't. Oh, no, it's too much. No, I can't. Yes, you can. I'm sorry. It's going to hurt. All right, let's get past it. Okay? Whether you're in the gym and trying to get into a certain physical fitness, you're going to experience some discomfort to experience some development on the physical side. It's the same way intellectually and spiritually. Your movement towards Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is not going to be a comfortable one if you actually want to move. Otherwise, you're just going to sit in an emotion. I'm going to feel spiritual. Moments here and there. Finally, my dear brothers and sisters, in this reflection, I want us to realize the ultimate reality, which is one day, not just because you didn't charge your phone, but these screens are going to go black. They're going to go black. They're going to go dark. Your accounts will finally freeze. There's going to be no more money. there's going to be no more action on your applications. Your followers on Instagram, on TikTok, on Snapchat, and all those applications that we spend hours and hours and hours on will not follow you to your grave. And you're going to be all alone in your grave. Your saved clips are not going to testify for you. No matter how many times, like, oh, that's a great video. Yeah, I'll do that later. Save, save, save. The only thing that is going to be there for you is what you've established of deeds that became a pattern, that became a habit, a lifestyle that will contribute towards you. Not your potential, not the things that you wanted to do, not your intentions, not the things that, oh yeah, I'm going to do that. Not the plans, not the projections, not the potential. Your pattern, your habit, your lifestyle, the things that you actually did. And I'm saying all of this, and I'm ending here. Forgive me. Not because I'm trying to crush anyone. Some of you feel like, well, you already crushed us. I'm sorry. It's because I care and I love you. And if this is the last night that we have, I want it to be that night that you move towards Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala with that faith, certainty, intention, and action. We need, my dear brothers and sisters, not a dramatic reform, but rather we need hidden repetition, quiet repetition, one habit that will define us, one discipline that leaves a mark on our soul, one thing that we can turn to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala and say, Ya Allah, I did this for you and only for you. Ya Allah. Tonight we end with asking this prayer in our words as we understand it from Imam Zayn al-ʿābidīn alayhi salam. Ya Allah, protect our habits. Ya Allah, strengthen our discipline. Ya Allah, make my obedience to you my reflex. Not my anger, not my desire, not my appetite, not any of that. Make my obedience to you my reflex. Because when our intention becomes our habit becomes our character, and our character becomes our destiny, and our destiny is what will meet Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. We ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala for guidance and direction, for His mercy and His compassion, for His love to encompass all of us. We ask Him to the hastening. Why do we ask for the hastening of the reappearance of Sahaba al-Asr wa Zaman? You know why? Because all of these things that we're asking for, we want it to be ushered in a global existential way through the presence of the Imam, that his identity is no longer concealed to the world. But we still benefit from him, like the sun behind the clouds. But we ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, let us see the sun, apparent and radiant, as it ever was. Hasten the reappearance of Sahaba al-Asr wa Zaman and allow us to be of His loyal servants and followers. هذا والحمد لله رب العالمين وأفضل الصلاة والتسليم على نبينا محمد وعلى آل بيته الطيبين الطاهرين.